Great. Okay, it's all yours.
Have you ever seen or imagine, also you could see or imagine, a Piedmont student that you know is on the baseball team walking around in either a boot or a sling, and the first thing you ask yourself is, wonder what happened to them? Well, a long list of injuries can occur in baseball, from anywhere from a blister from a new glove to completely breaking an ankle from sliding into a base wrong. So the body can be classified into two different parts. So on the far right, that's actually called the axial skeleton, which consists of the head and the chest. And on the left is the appendicular skeleton, which is all the limbs, the arms, and the legs. But for purposes of the speech, I'm going to be classifying it into three different parts: the head, the upper extremity, and the lower extremity. So with my passion for the sport of baseball and my love for the home team, the Atlanta Braves, we're going to take a look at three of those common injuries in the areas of the body. And we're going to start actually with a facial fracture. So what's the first thing you think about when you think of a facial fracture or any head injury? Probably like a concussion, right? That is more common in contact sports, but in baseball, which is not so much contact, a facial fracture would be more of a common head injury. So they can occur from impact to the front of the skull and any of these bones pictured up here. It mostly happens from contact with the baseball. Sometimes the bat making contact with the face can cause a facial fracture as well, but most of the time it is from the baseball, either when you're up to bat and you accidentally get hit in the face, or when you're out in the outfield, you're trying to catch the ball and it pops you in the face as well. In the 2019 season, infielder Charlie Culberson got hit in the face with the ball. He's trying to bunt it with his bat, and it completely misses the bat and hits him right in the face. Actually, I'm going to go back. If you see the green highlighted, that's the zygomatic bone, and on the right of that, that's your maxilla bone, which is your upper jaw, and he gets hit in between those two bones. I have a video of it happening. This is an acute injury, so that means that it happens right away, not over time. It doesn't show any blood, but you do see the ball making contact with his face. So if that makes you squeamish, probably look away.
And Charlie punts that ball off his face. Charlie Culberson just bunted the ball and it went right up to his face. Charlie Culberson never got wood on the ball. In his bunt attempt, he leaned right in, and that fastball hit him on the right cheek.
So he was rushed to the hospital. They did do some x-rays and found out that he did fracture his face. Luckily, though, he didn't have a concussion, and he was out the next day from the hospital, but he was done for the season. Rehab for this type of injury would just be maybe reducing the facial fracture, either with surgery or not with surgery, to relieve some blood flow. Nerve damage may last a while, but after 2 to 3 weeks, some of the swelling should be gone by then. But they would have to be cleared for play in order to go back in for the season, which he was for the season, but unfortunately not for the Braves. The next type of injury that a trainer would deal with is in the upper body. And some of the upper body injuries that can happen in baseball are anywhere between bruises, lacerations, which are cuts, or maybe some dislocations. But when you're dealing with baseball, a lot of times a torn labrum is super common. So this is a chronic injury, which means it does happen over time. So I don't have a video of that happening. But basically a labrum is that blue highlighted structure right there. It attaches the shoulder to the humerus bone. It helps you to be able to move your arm in a full range of motion and be able to extend it backwards. A lot of times pitchers are seen tearing their labrum, but the example that I thought was pretty interesting that I have for this presentation is Brian McCann. So he's actually a catcher, but he did bat for the Braves a lot because he was a pretty good batter. And in his batting, he ended up feeling some discomfort when he would go up to bat. And after talking to his athletic trainer, they found out that he had torn his labrum. So that's from an overuse injury, overuse of that ligament, especially when he's batting. If you don't take care of your ligaments and trying to recover them efficiently, then it can cause them to tear or break down or, injury to occur. So rehab for this would be surgery. So he was taken out of that 2012 season. There's exercises as well that you can do for physical therapy after surgery just to regain that maximum range of motion. And it can last anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks of recovery, but they must be cleared by a physician in order to return back to play, just to prevent that from happening again. So we've discussed the head and the shoulder, and now we're just going to talk about the toes, or more so the ankle area. So if everyone could feel this on the back of their foot, it's right under the calf muscle and right above the heel bone. It's that protruding tendon, that's your Achilles tendon. So I like to think of it as a rubber band that attaches right below the calf muscle to the bottom of the heel. And when you plant or flex your foot, so you're pushing your toes towards the ground, you can actually feel it flex. And if you think about the rubber band, if you overstretch a rubber band, it can actually pop and snap. And the same thing goes for an Achilles tendon. If you put too much pressure on that tendon, it'll pop. So an Achilles tendon tear, it is this fibrous tissue that connects those, allowing you to move your ankle up and down and your foot up and down. And a lot of people explain this injury as being hit in the back of your ankle with a tennis racket. That's what it feels like. And then you can also hear a loud pop most of the time. So I do have an example from the Atlanta Braves for this as well. In the 2020 season, pitcher Mike Soroka pops his Achilles tendon. Well, he tears it completely. And I have a video of it as well, since it is an acute injury. It happened right away. If you watch his right foot.
This one hit toward Freeman. Soroka tumbles off the mound. He's still down. Mike Soroka went down in a heap, and he is limping toward the foul line. Mike Soroka tried to break toward first base, and he is on 2 knees on the infield grass. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Or his Achilles? Well, you can't put pressure on it, Chip. I hope I'm wrong, but
You'll actually see like a little vibration.
Oh, boy.
Right there.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
You can see something twitch in the calf muscle from that last angle.
So after he was assessed by the athletic trainer, they did conclude that he tore his Achilles tendon and he was out for the rest of the season, which is unfortunate. But he did need surgery to repair that. In most cases, you do need surgery to repair an Achilles tendon, just to reattach those 2 ends in order for it to work properly again. Physical therapy is required after surgery to re-strengthen it and the surrounding muscles, but they won't be cleared for regular play for at least 4 months. So this is a pretty long injury to recover from. Okay, so today we've gone over the 3 common injuries, and they're not the most common, but 3 common injuries that do occur in baseball, though there are a ton more, and we all have seen that these 3 do require pretty extensive recovery. So the head, the shoulder, and the ankle, they're all able to be recovered from. The hardest thing to overcome is pushing yourself through the recovery to get back to that 100%. Now, sports psychology, that's a totally different topic, but since injury is pretty much inevitable in any sport, as long as you have a good athletic trainer and proper follow-up care, you can push through any types of injuries that occur for any sport.
Valerie? Next, we'll hear from Justin. He's been looking at my notes here. After we hear from Justin, I will ask Andrew Thomas to come back and finish up presenting his presentation on Friday.
I'll be doing my presentation on Ronaldinho, who is my favorite player. His real name is Ronaldo something Moreira. He was born on March 21st in 1980 in Porto Alegre, Brazil. And he has a wife and kid, and his kid plays soccer too. Ronaldinho began playing soccer when he was at the age of 7. He idolized his father, João Moreira. He became a big player in Brazil as a youth player, winning different championships as a kid. He got the nickname Inho added onto his name since he was so small but played up an age group, and he did pretty good as a youth player. He didn't start playing big for real until he was 17, which is kind of hard to imagine being. He's pretty much in high school, but winning at big stages at like the World Cup in 1997, and then he signed his first professional contract for a big team in Brazil, Grêmio, in 1998. And he didn't start playing at the highest stage in soccer, which is overseas in Europe, until 2001, which he would have been, I guess, 21 then at that point. And then a year later, he started playing for Brazil when they actually won that World Cup in 2002. And yeah. For most of his time, for what he's known for is for playing at Barcelona, which is one of the biggest clubs in all of soccer, and AC Milan, which is a team in Italy, who's a good team that everybody knows about. At Barcelona, he played his best, where he scored 94 goals and assisted 91 times in 207 games. And then at AC Milan, He scored 26 goals and assisted 29 times in 96 games. But at AC Milan, he was getting a little bit older and was going through different things and stuff in his personal life because he thought that he was too big of a player and he would party and stuff a lot, which is kind of common in Brazil superstars. He entered retirement. As a soccer player, you usually go into, well, for most sports, you go into retirement once you hit your mid-30s, sort of, kind of. But once he fell off the big stage and playing internationally in Europe, he ended up coming back home and playing in Brazil for different teams here and there. And then in 2015, he played in Mexico for like a season, but I don't even remember if he finished the season. Pretty sure he didn't. He won a lot of trophies throughout his year. As U17, he won the Player of the Year. He won the World Cup in U17 in 1997. Then from 1998 to 1999, in that season, that's the trophy that you win for the top league in Brazil. Then he won the World Cup in 2002. He won the best FIFA player 2 times. He won the Spanish Championship, which is the top league in Spain with Barcelona. He won the Ballon d'Or 1 time, which means that you're the best player in Europe. He won the Confederations Cup, which is a smaller international tournament between all the South American teams. And then there's another championship that you can win in Spain, the Spanish Super Cup. Then the Italian champion is in Italy for the top league. And then the Recopa Sud-American winner was back in when he went back to Brazil. And here's the video. If it'll play. Ooh. Here's a highlight of him playing. Now, fun fact is this recently, actually, he was arrested for using a false passport in Paraguay. But as you can see, they didn't really care. They kind of actually embraced him and actually had soccer tournaments within the jail from time to time, just because everybody loved him around the world. That's my PowerPoint.
Thank you.
Sometimes you need to get away from the kids.
So this was a video I was about to play on Friday. Basically, it's a skeet shooting competition in the 2008 Olympics. The USA shooter as well as the Norwegian shooter, they tied in the regular shoot. So they had to go to a shoot off. And then this is an example of what the shoot off looks like in the Olympics. not letting me present, but or hit the present button.
You can just click on the slide to the left hand side.
It won't let me do that either.
Okay, stop time, just close it out and then just open it again.
Okay.
That's clear.
Okay, so as y'all can see in the video, the USA guy did win. He hit 3 discs out of 4, and the Norwegian shooter, he only shot 1 out of 4, so he lost. That meant that the USA guy or shooter, he got the gold medal, and then the Norwegian shooter got the silver medal. As you can tell, it's very fast paced, a lot more fast paced than what I do. They have to make it a lot harder because at certain points they're so good at it that it makes it a lot very easily. But some of the techniques that they were using, they were following through their shot. So basically, if the disc is coming this way, then you keep your gun moving this way with the skeet, so that it makes your the bullet spread. It makes it thinner and longer, so that you can have like a wider range, and it makes you hit the actual skeet a little bit easier. They were also keeping their gun tight to their chest and tight to their cheek, so that they can control the gun very easily, and then as well as see down the line, so that they can use the iron sights that are on the gun itself to line up with the skeet and shoot it. I will go back, but one thing that they're probably using is a different type of choke. So they generally use an improved choke, which means all it is how far you want the bullet spread to be from where you're standing. So the improved cylinder choke is for about 30 yards. But sometimes if you're out in the dove field and the birds are flying really high, you might want to change out to a full choke so that you can hit those really high birds. But another technique of shooting is when to shoot the disc. So those guys were shooting the disc fairly quickly because they needed to, because that's one of the things that they calculate when they're calculating your score, is how fast you shoot the actual disc. And normally you shoot it when it's at its climax point. So basically when it's at the highest point, right before it starts to drop, because that's generally when it's at its slowest. And then it just kind of stops right there for a second. And then that's when you need to shoot it, is right there at that point. And then I also have some pictures of me shooting as well as my family shooting. So this first picture right here is my mom shooting. As you can tell, it's not very good form. She's kind of leaning back, which means she has no control, or she has a lot less control. And then the second picture is me shooting. So I'm more straight up, I have my arm at a 90-degree angle, and you can see my mom is kind of out further, and so she has less control. Me, I'm tight with the gun, cheek on the gun, and really in a good stance there. And then the last picture is from this most recent dove season with one of my friends, and a picture of some of the doves that we had shot for that season. As you can kind of tell, we don't do like a competitions like skeet or trap or anything at my house, but we just kind of have a thrower. We just let it go and just kind of shoot it, and we can go from different angles and not necessarily different speeds, but just kind of different places around our property. that will make it a little bit harder or a little bit easier. So that's all I have today. Thank you all for listening to my presentation.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions, Andrew? Okay. Well, let's get today's presenters another round of applause. Keep in mind that you need to send me the name of your charity to send to my email between now and Wednesday for your persuasive speech. And then on Wednesday, make sure that you come over and support your peers and friends for Symposium Day. All right, have a good day, everyone. Please. You can just go if you know now. So you're gonna be Habitat. Okay, I got you down for that. It's a good one.
Thank you.